Today is the best day because it's New Guitar Day. How do I welcome a new member of the family into the flock and put it through its paces? That's what we're going to talk about today. Well, hey there kids, it's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. And this is my beautiful new Les Paul Standard 60s in a Lemonburst finish that I just got from Sweetwater. You're going to want to hear this thing. I just got the guitar this morning and I am ecstatic. It's beautiful, it plays great, it sounds great, and did I mention that it's beautiful? Which is part of the reason why I chose this one, is this stunning top. Now I'll be real with you, I don't usually like Lemonburst, but I was browsing on the Sweetwater site the other day just seeing what the availability of some newer Gibsons was, and this one popped up under the Guitar Gallery feature. This is where you can go on their site and they show you like 4 different models that they have in stock. They tell you the weight, they give you detailed pictures of what all the tops and stuff look like. And this one really stood out to me because it's got a more deep, rich, kind of orangey amber color to it rather than the light yellow. And of course, this top is just absolutely stunning. This has got to be one of the best tops I've seen on a Gibson, period. Beautifully booked matched. As soon as I opened up the case and took a look at it, I was blown away. So I thought I'd take you guys along for the journey of day one with a new guitar and take you through the process of what I do whenever I get a new instrument. I want to get it playing and sounding just the way that I like. Today's video is brought to you guys by everybody who supports my channel over on my Patreon page, patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Sign up today, you're going to get access to a ton of bonus lessons, backing tracks, downloadable tabs, and so much more. This week, everybody who supports my channel is going to get access to a very special mega extended cut of this very video that shows you a whole lot more guitar setup tips, more riffs, more of everything. So don't delay, sign up today. So the first thing that I usually do whenever I get a new guitar delivered is unfortunately the least fun part. It's the waiting game. Tom Petty was correct when he said the waiting is indeed the hardest part. Whenever you're having a guitar shipped to you, especially if it's in the middle of winter like it is right now, you got to be really careful about just taking it right off of that FedEx truck where it's, 30 degrees outside or whatever, and then popping that case open in your 70-degree house. Especially if it's like a beautiful nitrocellulose finish like what Gibson is using on these. That temperature shock can really mess stuff up. Not to mention the woods and everything like that can kind of go into shock whenever they're exposed to completely different temperatures. So unfortunately, it is typically a really good idea to wait at least a few hours for that box and that case to slowly acclimate to the temperature in your house before you open it up. So of course, after I get a new guitar out of its case and I drool over it for a little while, the first thing that I want to do is play the damn thing. Let's mash some ropes. And this is the 1960 spec model, which means it's got my favorite Gibson neck on it, which is that kind of slim taper neck. It's not super beefy. It's not, you know, like shredder guitar thin or anything, but it's definitely slimmer than what you probably associate with like a Les Paul neck. It's not a baseball bat whatsoever. And it's got the 60s, I think it's like burst bucker pickups in it, which I've never used before, but they sound awesome. Really warm, really fat, just kind of like exactly what you want a Les Paul to sound like. 2 volumes, 2 tones, 3-way pickup selector. It's a Les Paul. It's everything you need and nothing that you don't. So after I played the guitar for a while, I got it in some good light. That way I could look really closely at it and, you know, check out the finish, check out the fretwork and all that kind of thing. And this thing is flawless, like straight up. It is really exceptionally well built. Gibson is killing it again, guys. Like, they are seriously putting out guitars that are kind of ridiculous. Really, really amazing workmanship is going into these things. The fretwork and stuff is freaking killer too. I look forward to setting this up just to see how low I can get the action. So out of the box, it plays pretty dang good. I think most people would play this and be like, wow, this feels really good. But one of the first things that I check for with a new guitar is to start down here at the nut end and check out the way that the nut was cut, as well as the nut height and everything. This is a really important part of getting a guitar that plays great. It all starts right here to me. Because it doesn't matter if you set your neck up exactly how you like it, get the bridge set up how you like it. If that nut height is too high, your intonation is always going to be wonky. It's always going to feel really awkward playing down here in the first and second positions. So for me, having a well-cut nut is one of the most important parts of any guitar setup. Thankfully, this guitar shipped with an extremely well-cut nut. All of the nut slots are cut in such a way that it puts the string going right towards its tuner. It's going to help it stay in tune much better. No jagged edges or anything like that. And one of the most important things that I look for is how low the action is for the open string. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is a trick that John Suhr from Suhr Guitars taught me, and I do it on all of my instruments now to check out how the nut is cut. Okay, now I typically do this with 2 hands, but obviously I'm holding the camera with 1 hand, so I'm going to use a capo here and slap that around the 3rd fret of the guitar, right? Now, using one of my free fingers here, what I'm going to do is to lightly tap the string against the fret. Do you see how it's just barely moving? That's what you want. You want just a teeny tiny bit of wiggle. If the string doesn't move at all, it means that the nut is probably cut too low. If you have a lot of room where you can really push the string down before it touches the fret, it probably means that it's too high. Now, an important part of this is this sound. That's the sound that I'm looking for. That means that there's a little bit of clearance for the string to be above the fret. But again, the fact that it's making a noise means it's not touching the fret. Especially here on the B and high E string. Boy, it's hard to even see that that's moving on camera, but it is moving just the slightest, which I love, especially on the high strings. I like for these high strings to be damn near touching the fret, and that is how this guy is. There's no open string rattle or anything. If the nut was too low, these open strings would rattle, but there's none of that going on. Perfectly cut nut. So now that I know that the nut is where I like it, I'm going to start working on the neck adjustment here and getting the neck straightened out the way that I like it. I typically play with my guitars with a very straight neck. If the guitar's fretwork can tolerate it, which this one almost certainly can because all Gibsons are plecked now, which means they have perfect fretwork. If the guitar's fretwork can tolerate it, I like to have the neck almost straight. I like to have a little tiny bit of relief so I can dig in and hit hard, but not much. So now that I've tuned the guitar down a half step, the neck is going to begin straightening out a little bit because there's less tension for the truss rod to be fighting. This adjustment process is different from guitar to guitar. Some guitars will adjust instantly, some take a little while, so might as well mash out some cool riffs on it while I'm waiting for it to settle in. I'm playing right now through the Diezel VH2. All of that stuff was actually on channel 1, which is the clean channel. But if you turn the gain up, and if you put a boost in front of it, I was using that JHS Bonsai, you can get some really great, like kind of old school, cranked Marshall sort of tones out of it. Sounds awesome. So this neck is still settling in a little bit. Like, it's pretty straight. Again, most people would probably be comfy with this, but I just want it to go a little bit straighter. So it's gonna take a little while to adjust. So I'm gonna check the relief on the neck right now and get that set where I like it. Let me show you how I do it. We are going to once again call on our friend, the Capo. It's better for more than just playing Wonderwall, guys. It's good for playing Wonderwall and adjusting your guitar. So I'm gonna put that here at the first fret of the guitar. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to push down on one of the body frets of the low E. So any of these frets that are on the body, I'm just gonna push down. I'm actually gonna do that with my elbow. Again, I'm holding the phone with one hand here so I can show you what I'm doing. So here I am, fretting against the body with my elbow. This is the 7th fret of the guitar. Now, what I'm doing right now by holding the string down in 2 places is using the string as a straight edge to show me how much relief or how much bow is in the neck. Now again, you can see as I push down right there, there's a little bit of movement. That is showing me exactly how much relief I have in the neck of this guitar. I want mine a little straighter than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the truss rod cover off and adjust that guy to where the neck is almost straight. Okay, so this is the thing that terrifies so many guitar players to do, messing with the truss rod on their instrument. You honestly do not have to be scared of doing this. I think that guitar techs started this myth just to keep themselves in business. So you want to use the right tool for the job to adjust your truss rod. Never use an improperly sized tool. And you're going to be totally okay as long as you don't turn it in either direction more than 1/4 of a turn. So if you're thinking like a clock face, right? Try to move it from 12 to 3 or 12 to 9. then wait a little while, check out the adjustment that you made using the process I just showed you, and then tweak it again. Again, never more than a quarter turn. I usually do like an eighth of a turn, you know, which would be like from noon to 1:30 or whatever. So this thing needs a little bit of straightening, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a turn. I'm gonna tighten it, that way it makes the neck go straighter. Again, it's totally no big deal. You don't have to be scared of this stuff. But I'm also not liable for anything you mess up on your instrument. And there we go. Again, not a big deal at all. Moved it maybe a little less than a quarter of a turn. And every guitar adjusts different. Some guitars take a while, some guitars adjust instantly. Let's just give this guy a quick check here and see if it's moved on us yet. A little bit. It's a little bit straighter, but that's going to continue to change as the guitar settles down. So I'll just wait a little while, play the guitar some, and see how it settles in. Part of the fun of a new guitar is listening to what all kinds of tones it's capable of through different rigs, and last time I checked, I think a Les Paul through a Marshall Plexi is a pretty good combo, so let's see what this sounds like. While I wait on the neck to settle in, this is a good time to start working on the bridge height to get the action up here where I want it. A lot of people mistakenly think that adjusting the bridge adjusts the action across the entire guitar. That's not true. It mainly only adjusts everything from about fret 10 and up. So while everything here is settling into place with the truss rod adjustment, I can work on everything up here in the meantime. So the cool thing about these Gibson bridges is they have these nice little thumb wheels on either side. So you don't have to have any like tools on hand to adjust your action whenever you want to. You can just screw those in to lower it or unscrew them to raise it back up. And once again, it's always easier to do these adjustments with the string tension lowered. So I'm just going to drop some tension off these strings right here, make some quick adjustments to this bridge, and see how it plays. Or even more conveniently, the bridges now have like a little Allen key adjustment at the top. So if you don't feel like trying to grip those thumb screws and stuff, you can just use the Allen wrench provided and do quick adjustments that way. That's a lot easier. Okay, let's see where we're at now with that setup. They're very low. I might have taken it down too much. No fretting out though. Like these are crazy low, like shredder low, beyond shredder low, and there's still no choke out even on big bends. Again, Gibson is like killing it with their fretwork these days. It's starting to get like barely choked sounding. And again, it's almost so low that it's kind of hard to play. It's kind of hard to feel the strings. I'm gonna take these back up just a little bit and see where we are measurement wise. There's this thing that happens with guitar setups where like the bass naturally gets kind of tighter whenever the action is a little bit lower. To me, whenever the action is really high, you get this really boomy, woofy low end, and as the strings get closer to the board and the neck gets straighter especially, things just start to tighten up a little bit. Speaking of the neck adjustment, there we are. This thing has already straightened out quite a bit for me. Let's get a look on the close-up here. So again, there's a capo fret 1, elbow on the body of the guitar. Gonna tap test this guy here. See around 7th fret. Wow, that is extremely straight. Again, I might actually take this back just a little bit See, there's barely any movement right there at all. That might just be a little too straight for me. I want to be able to dig in and play hard and not have any fret buzz. So again, I'm gonna back that off just a wee bit. Okay, so now that I've got the neck settled in and the bridge adjusted where I want it, I'm gonna measure here using this little string action guide. So like right now, the high E string at the 12th fret measures at about, it's a little over 1.5, and the low E string is also a little bit over 1.5. So I'd say that's probably like 1.6, 1.7 high off of that 12th fret, which is pretty dang low. But again, the crazy thing is the fretwork is so good, it went lower. Like I had the action way lower than this, probably like an even, probably 1 millimeter at the 12th fret on all the strings, and it didn't fret out or buzz or anything. It was just uncomfortably low to me. It was like driving on ice, but maybe that's your thing, you know? So, you know, again, that is a testament to how great the fretwork on these is now. Again, dude, it sounds so good and it's bizarrely easy to play. It's a win-win situation. God, the light in here is changing like crazy right now. But this guitar is amazing. There you go, guys, a look at how I take a new guitar and turn it into one of my guitars. Thanks so much for watching, and a huge thanks goes out to everybody at Sweetwater and the Guitar Gallery program for letting me cherry pick the Lemonburst of my fantasies. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, as well as ring the bell down there for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold right here on my channel. If you like this video and want to get even more cool stuff, sign up today to my Patreon page over at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Well, guys, it's been fun as always, but as for me, I think I'm going to go mash some ropes on this beautiful new guitar for a while. As for you guys, I recommend getting away from the computer and going and picking up your favorite guitar and doing some playing on that thing yourself. Less clicking, more picking.